First contact intercepted. The night shift at Meridian Observatory was usually Dr. Maya Reeves' favorite. The quiet solitude of the New Mexico desert, the vast array of radio telescopes pointed skyward, and minimal interruptions from administrative staff meant she could focus on her personal research projects while monitoring the automated systems. As the lead astrophysicist for SATI's Deep Space Monitoring Initiative, Maya had spent the last decade searching for evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. Despite the occasional promising blip, nothing conclusive had ever materialized. Tonight was different. At 2:37 a.m., the primary detection system issued an alert unlike anything Maya had encountered before. The signal wasn't random noise or a pulsar's regular beating. It wasn't the microwave background radiation or satellite interference. This was structured, complex, and unmistakably artificial. "Johnson, are you seeing this?" Maya called out to her systems engineer, who was dozing in the break room. Marcus Johnson stumbled into the control room, coffee mug in hand. "What's up, Doc?" he asked, his voice still thick with sleep. Maya pointed at her monitor. "This signal, it's coming from the Cygnus constellation, approximately 47 light-years away." Johnson leaned closer, his eyes widening as he took in the data. That's not natural. Those are mathematical sequences. Prime numbers," Maya confirmed, "followed by what appears to be spatial coordinates, and I think these are technical schematics of some kind." "We should contact Director Harrington," Johnson suggested, reaching for his phone. Maya held up her hand. "Wait, there's something else about this signal." She typed rapidly, bringing up additional analysis. "Look at the trajectory pattern. This signal wasn't directed at Earth. We're just in the way." Johnson frowned. "What do you mean?" "It's like we intercepted a message meant for someone else. These coordinates point to a location beyond our solar system." Over the next 24 hours, the facility transformed from a quiet research station to a buzzing hive of activity. Government officials, military personnel, and scientists from around the world converged on Meridian Observatory. In the hastily established command center, Maya presented her findings to the assembled experts. "The signal contains 3 distinct components," she explained, pointing to the large display. "First, a mathematical introduction using universal constants. Second, a set of spatial coordinates with what appears to be timing information. And third, these technical specifications that our engineering team believes might be instructions for building some kind of communication device." General Victor Rice of the newly formed International Space Defense Coalition leaned forward. "And you're certain this message wasn't intended for Earth?" "The signal trajectory and content strongly suggest it was meant for a recipient beyond our solar system," Maya confirmed. "We appear to have intercepted a transmission between 2 advanced civilizations." Dr. Eliza Chen, the leading xenolinguistics expert, spoke up. "The urgency patterns embedded in the signal suggest this is some kind of warning or distress call." "The question is," General Rice said, "do we respond or stay silent?" The debate raged for days. Military advisors urged caution, warning that revealing Earth's existence to unknown alien civilizations could have catastrophic consequences. Scientific teams argued that this was humanity's greatest opportunity for first contact. Politicians worried about public panic if news leaked. Maya, increasingly frustrated with the delays, gathered her core team in the observatory's secure basement lab. "The signal is degrading," she told them. "If we're going to respond, it needs to be now." Johnson nodded. "I've analyzed the communication device schematics. We can build a rudimentary version with our current technology." Dr. Chen added, "And I believe I've deciphered enough of their mathematical language to craft a basic response." "The committee isn't going to authorize this," cautioned Dr. Abigail Wong, the team's astrobiology specialist. "We'd be violating direct orders." Maya looked at each of them in turn. "Something terrible is happening out there. Someone sent a warning across the stars, urgent enough to broadcast it widely rather than through secure channels. If Earth received this message, it might already affect us." She paused. "I'm going to respond, I won't ask any of you to risk your careers." To her surprise, not one of them left. Using components borrowed from various projects around the observatory, Maya's team constructed the device described in the alien schematics. It was a crude approximation, but Johnson believed it would function. Dr. Chen programmed their response, a simple acknowledgement of the message, Earth's position, and an offer of assistance. "This is either the greatest moment in human history," Maya said as they prepared to activate the device, "or the biggest mistake we've ever made." The response was transmitted at exactly midnight. Then they waited. They didn't have to wait long. 3 days later, automated defense systems detected an object decelerating rapidly as it approached Earth orbit. It wasn't following any known trajectory for natural objects, and its speed initially exceeded anything human technology could achieve. The object, soon identified as a spacecraft approximately 300 meters in length, established a stable orbit and broadcast a signal directly to Meridian Observatory. "They tracked our response," Johnson whispered, awe and fear mingling in his voice. On screens around the world, the face of something not human appeared. Its skin was a pale blue-gray, with no visible hair. Multiple eyes, 4 arranged in a diamond pattern, blinked independently. When it spoke, its thin lips didn't completely match the words that came through the translator. "I am Commander Zivnar of the Galactic Alliance vessel Heartsong. You have intercepted our emergency broadcast. This is unprecedented. Primitives should not have this capability." Maya stepped forward, designated as humanity's representative in this historic moment. "I am Dr. Maya Reeves of Earth. We detected your signal and recognized its importance. We offered assistance." The alien commander's upper eyes narrowed. "Assistance? Your civilization has barely achieved spaceflight. You cannot assist against what comes." "Perhaps you should tell us what comes," Maya suggested, maintaining her composure despite the dismissive tone. Zivnar was silent for a moment, then nodded. "We call it the Void. It consumes entire star systems, leaving nothing but empty husks. It began in the Andromeda galaxy and has spread to ours. Countless civilizations have already fallen." "What exactly is the Void?" General Rice asked, stepping into view. "Not what, who," Zivnar corrected. "The Void is a collective entity, once biological, now something more. They absorb knowledge, technology, and resources. They do not destroy for destruction's sake. They harvest what they deem valuable." Maya felt a chill. "And our response to your signal has likely alerted them to your existence," Zivnar confirmed. "Your world now registers on their sensors." The implications were staggering. By intercepting the warning meant for another civilization and responding to it, humanity had inadvertently placed Earth directly in the path of an existential threat. "How much time do we have?" General Rice demanded. Zivinar's expression was unreadable to human eyes. "Based on their last known position and velocity, perhaps 3 of your Earth months." 3 months? Maya echoed, horrified. "That's impossible, even at light speed." "The Void does not obey the physics you understand," Zivnar interrupted. "They travel through space-time in ways your science cannot comprehend." Over the following weeks, Zivnar's damaged ship was moved to a secure facility. The alien commander and their crew shared what knowledge they could about the Void. They explained that their own civilization, a confederation of worlds spanning 12 star systems, had been devastated, with only a handful of ships escaping to warn others. Nations that had been enemies for generations united in the face of this common threat. Scientists worked around the clock to understand the alien technology Zivnar reluctantly shared. Military forces worldwide prepared for an enemy unlike any they had faced before. Maya, now heading the scientific response team, worked closely with Zivnar, despite the aliens' initial dismissiveness. "You realize resistance is futile," Zivnar told her one night as they reviewed defense strategies. "Civilizations far more advanced than yours have fallen to the Void." Maya looked up from her calculations. "Then those civilizations weren't human." Zivanar's equivalent of a laugh was a wheezing sound. Your species' arrogance is remarkable. It's not arrogance, Maya countered. It's hope, and it's something your people seem to have lost. Before Zivanar could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. On the monitoring screens, massive energy signatures appeared at the edge of the solar system. That's impossible, Zivanar whispered, genuine fear evident for the first time. They cannot have arrived so quickly. But they had. The void had come for Earth, and humanity had less than a week to prepare, not the months they had counted on. Time to see what humans are really made of, Maya said grimly. Humanity's response. The command center underneath the Rocky Mountains was a hive of desperate activity. Screens display the approaching void vessels, 7 massive structures that defied conventional physics, each over a kilometer in length, with crystalline surfaces that absorbed rather than reflected light. They're not slowing down, General Rice reported, watching the tactical display. Current trajectory puts them in Earth orbit in 72 hours. Maya turned to Zivanar, who stood motionless, 4 eyes fixed on the screen. You said we had months. Why are they here now? I do not know, the alien commander admitted. They have never moved with such purpose before. Something about your world has provoked them. Dr. Chen, who had been analyzing the intercepted communications between the void vessels, looked up from her station. It's not just Earth they're interested in. They're specifically targeting Meridian Observatory. The signal response, Maya realized. They're not just detecting our civilization. They're tracking the specific transmission we sent. The hastily assembled Earth Defense Council, representatives from every major nation, gathered to hear Zivanar explain what humanity faced. The void was once a biological species, the alien commander began. They evolved beyond physical form, becoming entities of pure information that require physical vessels. They consume technology, knowledge, and resources, incorporating what they find valuable and discarding the rest. And they can't be reasoned with, asked the Chinese representative. They do not reason as you understand it, Zivanar replied. They evaluate, acquire, and assimilate. There is no negotiation. The Russian delegate leaned forward. What of weapons? Surely civilizations have fought back. Conventional weapons are useless. Their vessels generate fields that disable any technology based on principles they understand. Energy weapons, fusion bombs, quantum systems, all become inert in their presence. A heavy silence fell over the room. What about unconventional weapons? Maya asked suddenly. Technologies they haven't encountered before. Zivanar's head tilted. What do you mean? You said they disable technologies based on principles they understand. What about technologies they don't? Simpler systems, different approaches. For the first time, a flicker of something like respect crossed Zivanar's alien features. An interesting hypothesis. The void has encountered thousands of civilizations across multiple galaxies. Most follow similar technological development paths. But your species' technology is chaotic, unrefined. Perhaps there are approaches they haven't categorized. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The following hours saw an unprecedented mobilization of Earth's scientific and military resources. Traditional defense approaches were abandoned in favor of what became known as Project Throwback, the strategic deployment of technologies considered obsolete or primitive by galactic standards. Professor Hiroshi Tanaka, an expert in analog computing, led one division. Digital systems will be targeted first, he explained to his team. But mechanical computers, gears, levers, punch cards, these might function even in the presence of their suppression fields. Dr. Isabella Martinez, a chemical engineer, headed another group. If they disable electrical systems, we go chemical. Pressure-based triggers, chemical propellants, thermobaric reactions that don't require electronic ignition. Around the world, manufacturing facilities shifted production. Vacuum tubes replaced microchips. Mechanical timing devices replaced digital clocks. Radio communication systems were retrofitted with crystal oscillators and analog components. "This is insanity," Zivnar said, watching humans dismantle advanced technology. "You're deliberately making yourselves more primitive." "No," Maya corrected. "We're being adaptive. The void expects a certain response. We're giving them something different." 48 hours before the void's arrival, humanity executed a bold plan. The International Space Station, hastily evacuated, was transformed into a technological honeypot. Its systems were deliberately enhanced with Earth's most advanced quantum computers, AI systems, and energy technology, making it an irresistible target. Meanwhile, a fleet of spacecraft using chemical propellants and mechanical guidance systems was assembled in secret. These ships carried weapons that seemed primitive compared to the theoretical energy weapons Zivnar's people had wielded, but they were weapons the void might not recognize as threats. "You're staking everything on the assumption that they will follow predictable patterns," Zivnar warned. "If you're wrong, then humanity falls," Maya acknowledged. "But we don't go quietly." When the void vessels arrived, they positioned themselves precisely as predicted, with 6 ships forming a hexagonal pattern around Earth, while the 7th approached the International Space Station. "They're scanning," Dr. Chen reported, monitoring the alien communications, focusing on power grids, digital networks, and quantum research facilities. "Just as we expected," Maya confirmed. "They're cataloging our technology before they disable it." General Reyes nodded grimly. "Initiate Operation Blackout." Around the world, power grids shut down in a carefully orchestrated sequence that made it appear as though an outside force was responsible. Digital networks went offline. Quantum research facilities reported catastrophic failures. To the void, it would appear their suppression fields were working perfectly. "They're taking the bait," Marcus Johnson reported from his station. "The main vessel is extending collection appendages toward the ISS." The 7th void ship had partially engulfed the space station, its crystalline structure flowing around the human outpost like liquid glass. The other 6 maintained their positions, apparently content to let the lead vessel begin the harvesting process. "Now," Maya ordered. From hidden positions around Earth's orbit, 20 spacecraft using chemical propulsion launched simultaneously. Their trajectories, calculated using mechanical computers, brought them directly toward the void vessels. "They're not reacting," Johnson reported. "They don't register our ships as threats." The fleet, manned by volunteers who understood the likely one-way nature of their mission, carried weapons unlike anything used in modern warfare. Some contained pressurized vessels of reactive chemicals. Others held mechanical devices designed to physically penetrate the crystalline hulls. "The flagship is fully engaged with the ISS," Dr. Chen reported. "They've committed to the harvesting process." That was the moment they had planned for. On the space station, hidden mechanical timers triggered a series of chemical reactions. The quantum computers and AI systems the void so desperately wanted were suddenly flooded with contradictory, paradoxical data patterns specifically designed to confuse artificial intelligence, created with insight from studying Zivnar's technology. At the same time, the attack fleet made contact with the distracted flagship. The results were immediate and dramatic. Where the chemical weapons touched the crystalline hull, unexpected reactions occurred. The supposedly inviolable material bubbled and fractured. Mechanical drills penetrated, unaffected by the suppression fields that would have disabled energy weapons. "It's working," Johnson shouted, watching the feeds from the fleet's basic cameras. "They have no defense against mechanical penetration." The other 6 void vessels began to respond, but they were confronted with a situation outside their extensive experience. For perhaps the first time in their existence, they faced an inferior technological species using methods they hadn't categorized as threats. Inside the flagship, the specialized data patterns wreaked havoc on the void's information systems. The entity had evolved to consume and assimilate knowledge, but the contradictory information loops created by Earth scientists were like poison to its system. "They're attempting to regroup," Dr. Chen reported, still monitoring their communications. Their language structure is breaking down. I think they're confused. On the main display, the flagship's crystalline structure began to lose cohesion. Sections separated and drifted apart, its perfect symmetry disrupted by the chemical reactions eating through its hull. The other vessels are retreating, General Rice announced. They're pulling back past lunar orbit. For a moment, hope surged through the command center. Then Maya noticed something on the readings. Wait. The flagship. It's not just breaking apart. It's changing configuration. The fragmented sections of the crystalline vessel began to reassemble, forming a new structure, smaller, denser, and apparently designed for a different purpose. They're adaptive, Zivnar said, a note of resigned familiarity in their voice. This is why they have prevailed for so long. They learn. The reconfigured vessel suddenly accelerated toward Earth, bypassing the attack fleet. Target, General Rice demanded. Meridian Observatory, Johnson confirmed. They've identified the source of the original transmission. Maya made a split-second decision. Activate the ground defenses, and get me a direct communication link to that vessel. What are you doing? Zivnar asked. Something you never tried, Maya replied. I'm going to talk to them. Using the communication device they had built to respond to the original signal, Maya broadcast directly to the approaching void vessel. But instead of words, she transmitted something else, the complete history of human scientific thought. From ancient astronomy to modern physics, riddled with deliberate errors, paradoxes, and misleading conclusions. You want our knowledge, she whispered as the transmission went out. Take it all. The effect was immediate. The void vessel's approach slowed as it processed the flood of information. Its crystalline structure fluctuated, patterns of light rippling across its surface as it attempted to assimilate the contradictory data. It's working, Dr. Chen breathed. They're compelled to analyze the information before attacking. Not for long, Maya cautioned. Fire the EMP. From sites around Meridian Observatory, specially designed electromagnetic pulse generators activated, not the advanced kind that would be neutralized by the void's suppression fields, but crude, powerful devices using technology barely more sophisticated than what Michael Faraday had discovered in the 19th century. The pulses hit the distracted void vessel at precisely the moment its structural integrity was compromised by its attempt to process the paradoxical information. The crystalline material, already unstable, shattered like glass struck by a precise frequency. As fragments of the vessel rained down in the desert, carefully positioned teams moved in with containment equipment designed to Zivnar's specifications. The remnants of the void entity, neither fully physical nor purely information, were captured and isolated. The 6 remaining vessels, witnessing the fate of their flagship, retreated beyond the solar system. Their departure was not a panicked flight, but a strategic withdrawal. They would return, but they would need to evolve new defenses first. In the aftermath, as humanity began the process of rebuilding and preparing for the inevitable return, Maya found Zivnar staring at the containment chamber holding the captured void fragments. You did what no civilization has managed before, the alien commander said. You responded to a threat beyond your technological level, with solutions outside their experience. Maya nodded. Humans have always been good at making do with what we have. We've spent our existence finding ways to overcome limitations. My people believed advancement meant moving always forward, developing ever more sophisticated technology, Zivnar reflected. We never considered that sometimes the answer lies in what we've left behind. That's the difference, Maya said. Humans never really leave anything behind. We keep every tool in the box, just in case. In the months that followed, Earth became the unlikely center of a new galactic alliance. Zivnar's people, the remnants of other civilizations that had fled the void, and even previously unknown species drawn by the news that someone had finally successfully resisted, all came to learn from the humans who had done the impossible. The warning that had been intercepted, a message never meant for Earth, had become humanity's call to arms. And in answering it, they had transformed from an insignificant primitive species into the galaxy's best hope for survival. As Maya stood on the observatory platform, looking up at the stars now known to hold both friends and enemies, she reflected on how one signal had changed everything. "They sent a warning to the galaxy," she murmured. "We treated it as a challenge." Beside her, Zivanar's four eyes also gazed skyward, and the galaxy will never be the same.